Hello everyone, so today we are going to work on how to switch player character. So now here, as you can see, this is my player character and I can switch between other characters with other characters as character I control. So if I press RT or E, now I'm controlling this character and other characters now following me, other characters of my party. See, so now the previously possessed by the player controller, this character was previously possessed by the player controller, and when I switch the possessed character, it's automatically possessed by the AI controller. So that's why it's following me. And if I switch again to the other one, now the other characters are following me because they are now possessed by the AI. So yeah, like seamlessly how to switch between members of my party as the player controlled character. This is what we are going to work on today. And before we get started, here is the whole playlist of this series. Everything is implemented from scratch and explained. You can follow these episodes and implement everything by yourself. And also here is the in my Patreon page. Once you become a member, you can get access to project files of this project, not just this project. To the date, there are over 2000 videos, and for each video, project files are available for members. So feel free to check it out. I'll leave the link in description below. Right, now let's get back to today's episode. Okay, so this is what we have implemented so far. Here, this is my player character and other members of my party are following me if I am moving away from them, like this. Yeah, just like this. Oh, I don't have it in the Nokia like this, but yeah, that's okay. Okay, so now what I want to do is a way to switch between members of my party while in the free roaming mode. So how do we do that? Yeah, for that, I'm thinking of creating a blueprint to handle all the party stuff. Maybe we should rename this. Let's add a new folder. Oh no, let's just add a new blueprint here. Let's call it PP party. And here I'll add a variable to hold party members. And I'll make the type. Does this need to be real based characters? Maybe not, but I'll make them anyway. And I'll make it public and turn this into an array. Then here I'll place this in the world. I'll call this PP player party. And I'll set recurrences for the party members. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And then here I'll go to the event graph. We don't need any of these. And let's give it a delay of 0.2 seconds, something like that, and enable input for this actor. That is because here I want to implement inputs for switching the player character when we are in the free roaming mode. So get player controller. The reason to have this small delay is to give time to initialize the controller properly. And then here I'll add a function switch player character. So here I'll get the party members. I'll also define a new integer not an array. I'll call it active player index. I'll make it 0 by default. And I'll get this and add some increment here. I'll call this increment because now we can use this function to switch to previous or next characters, next player characters available, right? And then I'll set the active player index with the result of this, but here instead of directly setting this, I'll get the length of this and do a modulus division. So if this ever becomes, because here we have 3 by default, if this ever becomes 4, this will become this will become 0. Not 4. It can't be 4. It will not be 4. If this ever becomes 3, this will turn it into 0. Right, and then here get a copy and process. No, we need to get player controller, character controller, and process this as the pawn. Okay, now compile this. In the begin play, after this I'll call switch player character with the increment 0. So whatever the character in the initial position in this array will be possessed by default. So if I play, see, it's working, but something else is happening. Before that, one thing we need to take care of. Here, when we are in the free roaming mode, free roam, we are using this IMC free roam. We have only jump, move, and aim. So I need to add this RT and LT for this, because I want to use those keys to switch the character. So I have copied this over into this free roam now. Now we have here all this IAA, IAB, LTRT as well. So now here in the party, IA, RT, and on started, I'll call switch player character with the increment 1. Similarly, IALT, switch this with -1. Okay, now let's see. We can switch, but we are no longer moving. Oh, when I copy, I lost the movement inputs here. Let me undo that. Okay, now it's correct. Right, now let's see. Here, now we can move, switch, and we can still move. But here, did you notice that the camera movements are no longer working? So what happens here is this. The camera movements are set for the character when I switch to this free roam widget. Here I set this aim camera mode. So I switch to this free roaming widget only when here, when I switch to free roam mode. So yeah, let's add the variable is free roam. Oh, that sounds like a function. Free roaming. Okay, by default. Now, when I switch to this would become true. And when I switch to match, that should become false. Okay, now I call this switch to free roam. We're not calling it here, but here we push this free roam widget to action stack. So instead of this is the default begin play. I'll do something like this. Let's get player controller and find event to on pawn changed. There is something like that. On possessed pawn changed. And here, let's create an event and create a matching function. Let's call it on possessed pawn changed. Okay. Maybe we should call it on player pawn changed. Yeah. Okay. Now, if we are in the free roaming mode, let's make it true by default. If we are in the free roaming mode, I'll call switch to free roam hard. Otherwise, I'll call switch to match hard. Okay. Now let's see. Still here. Oh, now it's working. Okay, I guess what happened there is initially the camera movements were not working. So I guess what happened here is this was not fired. Let's set a debug point here and play. Oh, it is. Oh, okay. Maybe this is the reason. If I select this character, this is also set to possess by default. Let's remove that. Yeah, now it's working. See? Because this was already possessed by default, and also it was possessed again through this. So because of that, it's causing some problems. So yeah, that's why. So when we call this possess in the second time, the character is not switching. So I guess this callback is not firing. But anyway, now it's working in the way we intend to. I'll set this to none because I saw this sphere over here. Yeah, now I don't have a sphere. Okay, now the next thing we need to figure out is We can switch to other characters as well. But my previous character, who was previously controlled by the player controller, is not following me. So when I switch the character, it should switch to an AI controller. Let's do that now. And also one more thing here in the party, when we go to decrement, we need to make sure that this is not negative. So let's clamp this between 0 and maximum. Well, maximum would be the length of this. Okay. Oh, maybe not. If I put the maximum here, then we will not be able to cycle through using the same RT button. So min, I'll make it. So therefore, this is fine, not a big deal. I'll do it this way. So we don't go into negative. Okay, now back to the problem. So how do we remake the characters repossess with the AI controller? So to do that, here, let's override on possessed event unpossessed. Okay, this one. Here, first I'll add a delay. This is to make sure that unpossession is fully done, and after that is player controlled. Let's check if the pawn is player controlled, because if this unpossessed is called when I repossess this pawn, previously it was controlled by AI, now it is controlled by the player. So in that case, we don't need to do anything. But if this is unpossessed by the player controller, then we need to respawn the AI controller for this character. So here, if this is true, in that case, we don't need to do anything. But if it is false, let's spawn from class, yeah, and I'll choose the controller I developed for this. The controller name. Oh, spawn AI from class. Why is this called pawn? Class, okay. AI party member, right. I'll get actor transform and use that. And here always spawn ignore collision. Instigator, maybe self. And what else? That should be fine. And then here we have the controller. We can call possess. Yeah, we need to possess self again. This should re-establish the AI controller when I switch from the character. So here, switch to other one. Now see, that character is already following me. See? So now it is possessed by an AI. If I switch back to this one, move over here, others are following. Good. Switch to the original one. Oh wait, something happened here. Now I lost my mouse movements. Why is that? Maybe when the switching happens, this binding breaks. That seems to happen if I do a full circle. That means here, if I switch to the another character and come back to this one. See, now I no longer get the mouse movement, camera movement. So let's try something like this. Hot turn base. Let me copy this, and here we have on player font changed. If this fixes the problem, it doesn't. Okay, let's convert this to an event. Big delay. Maybe this function is called before the transition is complete to the new character. Let's try. None of this seems like the problem. So let's try one more thing. Maybe because the camera mode is not exactly changing. When we unpossess, let's set camera mode to something different other than the aiming mode, so we can force a change. Well, yeah, so that seems to work. Good. So that problem is solved. All right. So yeah, that's all I want to work on in this episode. Everything is working as intended now. Now the next step is getting back on the combat mode. So here, now we need to move all the actors into the proper position. So maybe next time we can work on that. Right, so thanks for watching. As always, updated project files will be available for download here in the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.